On Friday, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro met with U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy, Richard Grenell. The International Summit for the Balance of the World ended in Cuba with forums, socialization workshops, and the World Congress of Poets for Peace in Defense of Life. And the Israeli occupation forces attacked Lebanon again, despite the stipulated truce, this time about 30 kilometers from the city of Beirut. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. On Friday, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro met with U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy, Richard Grenell. The special envoy arrived in Caracas to meet with President Nicolas Maduro and secure Venezuela's acceptance of deportation flights from undocumented migrants, said Mauricio Clever Caron, the official in charge of Latin America at the U.S. State Department. Washington has faced difficulties in deporting Venezuelans due to the deterioration of bilateral relations, especially following the diplomatic rupture in 2019 during Trump's first term, 2017-2021, and the hostilities carried out by the successive U.S. administrations against the South American country. The president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, granted an audience to President Donald Trump's special envoy and presented the Agenda Zero, which will allow the beginning of a new stage in bilateral relations and the defense of the inalienable rights and interests of the country. Through a communique, the government of Venezuela said, after conversations with the Venezuelan peace delegation led by Dr. Jorge Rodriguez Gomez, President of the National Assembly, and Dr. Delcy Rodriguez Gomez, Executive Vice President of the Republic, President Nicolas Maduro Moros received the representative of President Donald Trump and his delegation at Office Number 1 of the Miraflores Palace, where he proposed the construction of an Agenda Zero for a new beginning in bilateral relations. They continued to emphasize the meeting was held in the framework of mutual respect, and several issues of interest to both countries were discussed: migration, negative impact of economic sanctions against Venezuela, U.S. citizens involved in crimes in national territory, and the integrity of the Venezuelan political system. The agreement also ratified the need to turn relations to a new direction. They further stated Venezuela reaffirms its principles regarding peace, dialogue among equals, respect for sovereignty, and expresses its willingness to maintain open diplomatic channels with the United States of America in defense of the inalienable rights and interests of the Venezuelan people. We stay in Venezuela, where 5,334 communes and communal councils prepare for the third national public consultation while enjoying the positive result from previous instances. In this context, our correspondent Belén de los Santos visited the Cinco de Marzo commune in Caracas, where the execution of a water supply project is underway.
The parish, south of Caracas, stands the commune Cinco de Marzo, Comandante Eterno. Due to different reasons, water supply has been a historical problem for the community. However, participative processes such as the national public consultations have begun to change this situation.
Before, with the water supply problem, daily life here was practically lived bucket by bucket. I was in charge of the supply for 20 houses, carrying the hose, saying whose turn it was to receive it. And that's how it was every day when we didn't have water.
We had to wait until 3 a.m. and then the water supply would stop at 6. If we had to go to work the day we couldn't. Sometimes we lost a full works day. It was hard for me, and now it has been solved a little here in the community.
Thanks to the work carried out as a result of the past consultations, today 50% of the family homes in the communes have water supply. However, the brigades do not rest. In many cases, it is the neighbors themselves who continue the work to guarantee the service throughout the community.
We were the ones who decided on the project. We also executed it together with Hydrocapital's technical team. together with the community and the spokespersons of each of the communal councils. I believe that is the positive impact, that it generated a bond of trust that the projects can be carried out in a self-managed manner or in co-governance. Co-governance may be a better term because it is the government with us, the people, and in that way we also gave a positive response to the government and to our community.
The spokespersons of the commune described this process as an integral transformation of the community and its inhabitants, who feel the satisfaction of being direct architects of the collectively produced change.
I feel happy because I really like what I do, and I like working for my community.
Proud. Proud of myself. That I can do it, and I was able to. Proud to say that now my neighbors have the vital liquid.
In this way, participative initiatives such as the public consultations help shape the possibility of a different future.
To have a good life, and a good life means to have a decent house, to have class consciousness, to have a united family, to really understand what socialism means. That is what I dream for my commune.
Belén de los Santos, Denise Arabí, for teleSUR, Caracas, Venezuela.
The government of Venezuela denounced that the former Colombian President Álvaro Uribe Vélez wanted to incursion with paramilitary groups in the Catatumbo zone to generate destabilization. During the program Sin Truco ni Maña, broadcast on social networks, the Minister of Interior, Justice and Peace, Diosdado Cabello, recalled that Venezuela is under siege by imperialism. The security chief explained that the number of mercenaries captured have confessed to the zone through which the paramilitary groups were going to enter under the orders of former Colombian President Uribe, Pastrana and Duque. In this regard, Cabello emphasized that Venezuela is covering the borders so that there are no crimes after activating the lighting operation of Catatumbo. He emphasized that the national government had been investigating for 3 months to guard and guarantee the defense and peace of the country's sovereignty. The Bolivarian Armed Forces of Venezuela deployed more than 5,000 men to participate in the lightning Operation Catatumbo to protect the border and guarantee national stability. The Venezuelan Minister of Defense, Vladimir Padrino Lopez, activated the military operation on the border with Colombia with the objective of blocking the access to any destabilizing armed groups coming from the border zone. This measure takes place within the framework of the confrontations between the National Liberation Army and the dissidences of the Colombian Armed Forces. In this context, the General-in-Chief, Padrino Lopez, detailed that the soldiers will carry out air patrols, control of land routes, and eradication of illicit crops.
Of this new Catatumbo lightning operation ordered by our Commander-in-Chief Nicolas Maduro Moros, President of the Bolivarian Republic Venezuela, a new exercise to guarantee, as our Constitution says, as our Constitution mandates, to guarantee national independence, our national sovereignty and also the integrity of the entire national territory, the entire integrity of the national territory.
The Unit for Victims in Colombia reported that more than 500 tons of aid were delivered to more than 50,000 displaced people of Catatumbo due to the violence they are going through as a result of the confrontation between armed groups. The entity also informed that they plan to distribute at least 160 more tons of humanitarian aid in the coming days. The city of Cúcuta in the department of Norte de Santander has received the most displaced people, accounting for around 22,000 people, while in the municipality of Ocaña, another 10,200 people have taken refuge, and in other neighboring municipalities. The authorities also assigned a team of psychologists and social workers to provide support to those affected. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. In Kazakhstan, the Eurasian Intergovernmental Council was held in a small format where the heads of governments of the countries of the Eurasian Economic Union discussed current issues on cooperation. At the meeting, the parties involved reported that the gross domestic product of the Eurasian Economic Union in 2024 will grow by 4%, which will exceed $27 billion. For his part, the Kazakh Prime Minister Olas Bektenov pointed out that the decisions taken will give a new impulse to the development of the integration processes. Likewise, the head of the Belarusian government, Roman Goloshenko, emphasized that the presidency of the Republic will focus on strengthening the joint work with the areas of integration activity. For his part, the Prime Minister of Cuba, Manuel Marrero Cruz, during his virtual appearance before the Eurasian Intergovernmental Council, pointed out that despite the complex situation the island is going through, Cuba maintains its commitment and responsibility to be part of the Eurasian Economic Union as an observer state. He also acknowledged the work carried out by the Republic of Armenia in 2024 as head of this organization. Marrero Cruz stressed that Cuba, as an observer state, will comply with the decisions and agreements of the Union with the purpose of intensifying its economic, commercial, financial, and cooperation ties for the mutual benefit of the peoples. The 6th International Conference for World Balance concluded in Cuba, emphasizing the need to build a multipolar and fair world for all the peoples of the world. The forum, held at the Havana Convention Center, was aimed at facing together the problems of the growth of humanity, fostering collaboration. The closing ceremony took place after a day of analysis focused on the new international system, gender challenges, peace and democracy. During the event, proposals and tools developed by the Alliance of Organizations of the World for the well-being of all were presented. In this regard, the President of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel, emphasized the need to extend and apply the ideas of José Martí for the benefit of all peoples. In Honduras, a flight with Honduran deportees arrived from the United States. The arrival of the Honduran citizens deported under the new immigration policy of Donald Trump's government was supervised by the Foreign Minister, Enrique Reina, who went to the airport runway located in the Department of Cortés. Official sources indicated that 2 military aircraft are expected, with more than 100 Honduran citizens detained at the southern border of the U.S. Vice Chancellor Antonio Garcia clarified that his compatriots will not arrive handcuffed, emphasizing that this was one of the agreements with the United States authorities to allow the entry of military airplanes into the national territory. In Ecuador, the electoral campaign advances amid complaints about the actions of Daniel Noboa's government to discredit leftist Citizen Revolution Movement, RC. The president and candidate for re-election, Daniel Noboa, is claiming that his opponent, Luisa González, intends to promote the construction of a prison complex in the renowned Yello Uraga baseball stadium. However, the mayor of Guayaquil, Aquiles Álvarez, proved that leftist candidate Luisa González's team was not the one who placed a poster with the colors of the RC party with the supposed intention of modifying the sports center. Experts point out that these strategies of the right wing seek to hinder the support to González a few days before the presidential elections. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The Israeli occupation forces attacked Lebanon again despite the stipulated truce, this time about 30 kilometers from the city of Beirut. According to the Israeli Defense Forces, the attacks were against the Lebanese resistance movement Hezbollah and were due to the fact that they represented an alleged threat to Israel, according to their judgment. Recent statements by representatives of the Israeli forces affirm that they will remain deployed in that Lebanese territory to eliminate any possible threat to the state of Israel. In this context, despite the truce that came into effect last November 2024, the Israeli Defense Minister affirmed that they will not respect the agreement as long as the Hezbollah movement remains in that territory. The United Nations organization warned about the devastating consequences that the ban imposed by the Israeli regime on the activities of UNRWA. The ban imposed by the Zionist regime went into effect, generating growing concern for the thousands of displaced Palestinians who depend on this assistance to cover their basic needs. Despite the signing of a ceasefire, the humanitarian crisis in the coastal enclave remains devastating and is further aggravated by this recent Israeli ban on the activities of the United Nations agency. In view of this situation, the United Nations issued an alert stressing the need to resolve the humanitarian shortage in Gaza. Severe shortages of food and water are threatening the lives of thousands of people fleeing eastern Congo amid escalating violence. According to World Food Programme WFP, basic services are largely paralyzed in Goma, a humanitarian hub critical for more than 6 million people displaced by the conflict. The United Nations humanitarian coordinator in Congo added that the camps for displaced persons on the outskirts of Goma, which previously housed more than 300,000 people, have emptied due to the advancement of the Rwanda-backed rebels. Meanwhile, several WFP warehouses have been looted and are in turn limiting civilian access to food. The government of Georgia stated that negotiations with the European Union have been suspended in view of Brussels' impositions. Georgian President Mikhail Kavelashvili stated that negotiations regarding the country's accession to the European Union were cancelled because Georgia did not meet the demands set by Brussels. He added that Tbilisi is all ready to resume talks with the European Union as soon as concrete issues are on the table. It is important to note that since November 28th, opposition supporters have been protesting outside the Georgian parliament in Tbilisi following Prime Minister Irakli Kobakidze's decision to suspend until 2028 the negotiations with the European Union regarding Georgia's accession to the community bloc. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but remember you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.